The Misty Show. The Misty Show, your number one companion. The Misty Show. The Misty Show, your number one companion.
And welcome to another episode of the Ms. D Show. My name is Adora Stephanie Odo, and I'm your host. Today on the Ms. D Show is one of my favorite segments, the sickle cell segment. Today we're going to be talking to two people from the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation about sickle cell and what the project does. Today I'm going to be talking to Buki Bolarinwa and Mohammed Nura Abdullahi from the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to the Ms. D Show. So, I mean, we've been hearing about Scaf. I mean, if you're in the media, Instagram, Twitter, you would know Scaf. But then for those who don't know, could you tell us a bit about Scaf? What is Scaf? What's the full meaning of Scaf?
Well, Scaf is a Sickle Cell Aid Foundation.
Okay.
We were established in 2000 by Nkechi. And basically it's an organization that goes about raising awareness for sickle cell. We have a number of projects that we do, for now only in the FCT,
okay,
but just raising awareness about sickle cell, how to care for sickle cell, how to prevent the spread of sickle cell, and so on.
Okay, so I mean, this is based in Abuja for now. You guys have been around for a while.
Yes.
Why sickle cell though? I mean, there's so many NGOs people can come up with. Why did you guys choose sickle cell?
The reason why we chose sickle cell is because it matters to us. Some of us are directly affected by it, and some of us are carriers of it, and some of us have siblings, and friends, cousins. So, basically, the reason why Nkechi started it was because of the people close to her that are really, really affected by sickle cell. And then she came together with friends and like minds that really wanted that have been affected by same issue and wanted to go in and help because they know how much help, extra helping hand needs, and that is why it came to be.
Okay. Are any of you sickle cell by any chance?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I think, again, part of the reasons that Nkechi really put it forward is because Nigeria has the highest incidence of sickle cell in the world. For some reason, the government is not really putting it at the forefront of health issues because it's a non-communicable disease in that way. It's a genetic disorder. It's passed down from parent to child. It seems not to be at the forefront. And with the incidence and the high rate of, it spreading in Nigeria, I think that was part of the reasons why she said, you know what, we should stop waiting for people to do something and we can do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, from what you're saying, obviously, I know I've read a bit about sickle cell, and I happen to have family members as well. And I know for a fact, like you said, sickle cell, Nigeria is actually one of the, highest popular, with sickle cell in the world. So, I mean, what does the government actually do? Are you guys working with any government organizations? Is anybody supporting, or is strictly your own efforts entirely?
For now, it is our efforts. Literally 95% of our funding comes from private individuals. And for people who just are sympathetic to the cause, which you would find that is a lot of people, because a lot of people know people that are affected by it. But I'm not going to completely discredit the government. The Ministry of Health, for example, we've had talks with them. We've had a number of workshops and campaigns about sickle cell. But unfortunately, as with any country, there are a lot of health issues.
Of course,
Ebola and things like that are at the forefront because they're more easily communicable. So there seems to be more of a focus on that. So it's sort of rested on us as NGOs to do something about it, and we've just taken.
I mean, but obviously, like you said, the truth is Nigeria has the highest number of sickle cell patients in the world. So I mean, there has to be a bit more effort being done than what the individual NGOs are doing at the moment. So I mean, I haven't really heard in particular about the government doing anything fully. I mean, they're probably doing a little here and there, but considering how many sickle cell patients there are in the country, is it enough, would you say, in your opinion, that they're reaching out to as many people as they should? Or would you say that you guys seem to have reached out to more people who haven't had access to the government?
Well, we personally, on our own grounds, we did a lot. Like we started officially in 2010.
Right. Okay.
Yes, and from 2010 to date, we've gone so far. We've brought out the sickle cell campaign into the forefront. You go into social medias now. It's sickle cell, and it's all basically because of the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation. We really within our environment, we really put it out in the forefront.
Yeah.
Because we've been affected by it, and we know how so many less privileged people. Our movement within the FCT, we did surveys within in the 6 area councils of the FCT, and we got to realize that a lot of people do not know what sickle cell.
Of course,
was. Yeah. But during those campaigns, we tried to sensitize people, and also after that survey, and we went back for the Know Your Genotype campaign. It's one of the campaigns we do in Scaf to help people know their genotype for free.
Right. Okay.
And during this KYG movement, we got to make people understand what sickle cell is, and what it does, and why it needs attention.
Yes, of course.
Like she said, there've not been too much government support because they feel like there's a lot on their plate. In 2010, when we started, we called on Federal Ministry of Health.
Okay.
They didn't come on board then, but then recently we had our fundraiser, and which they came and they promised that they've seen our work, they've seen what we've been doing, we've caught their attention. So in the future, they're going to create programs where they will involve us and help continue doing the great work that we've been doing.
Of course.
Spreading their awareness.
Okay, I mean, 2 things you've picked on. A lot of people don't know what sickle cell is. As much as you might not want to believe it, and a lot of Nigerians actually don't know what their genotypes are. Especially when you go down to the rural areas and these local governments. So, I mean, for the sake of those who are watching who actually don't know what sickle cell is, or who probably have heard about sickle cell but are not sure, what does this actually mean? Like, what's the implication of sickle cell? If I hear someone has sickle cell, is it malaria? I've heard someone say, sickle cell, that means that the pikin go die, or that one go to 6. For people who are not really educated, what is sickle cell? How do you get it? Is it a communicable disease? Like you said, it's not, but that's what I know. But for the public, can you explain briefly what sickle cell is and how do you contact this disease? And, how do you manage it?
Well, that question, we can go on about that for
yes,
several hours.
Obviously.
But in summary, most basic terms, sickle cell is a genetic disorder that's passed down when a child inherits 2 sickle cell genes from each of the parents. So when a child is born, you inherit 1 gene from each parent.
Okay.
Now, the importance of knowing your genotype cannot be overemphasized, because that is the only way we can actually try and eliminate sickle cell from the next generation. So everyone, there are a number of genetic traits, but the most common ones are AA, AS, and FS.
Right.
So when you're SS, you have the sickle cell gene. When you're AA, you don't carry the sickle cell gene.
Okay.
When you're SS, you have the disease. It's 1 in each pregnancy. There's that 25% chance. So we found couples. Remember, we've done workshops where you find a parent with 6 children and they all have sickle cell.
Yeah,
and
of course.
You find some they're both
with
AS,
5, with
none.
Okay.
So it's a genetic lottery, and it's just about caring for patients with sickle cell and managing sickle cell. I mean, science has come a really, really long way. Every day there are new breakthroughs. In fact, there was one that we were reading on today. There's stem cell research. There's so many things that are going on.
Right.
But for the basic level, for people that can't afford, obviously, all these advanced sort of procedures, it's just about knowing yourself and knowing your condition. What we find is that as a person with sickle cell gets older, they have less crises.
Okay.
And this is mostly because the person is better able to manage themselves.
Right. That's what it is.
Triggers. So malaria is a huge trigger. Dehydration is a huge trigger. Stress is a huge trigger. So it's about eliminating those triggers of crisis. And then you find that, when I was in the UK, a lady celebrated her 85th birthday with sickle cell. cell.
Okay, so they leave that longer,
yes,
of course,
the
obviously.
the misconception that you die young when you could get hit by a car, you know.
Of course, there is. You can die from anything.
From anything, yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, so you're hearing it from Buki Bolarinwa and Mohammed Abdullahi on sickle cell and how you can manage it. However, there are more areas to this, but we will be back after this short break. Stay tuned. What do you actually do? What does it mean to be an MD, the CEO? What do your companies actually do? Right. So, how do you reach out to these people? Like, what is your outreach like? Are you based in a certain area in Nigeria, like Abuja? Okay, so because I'm trying to understand how people get to know about, designers marketplace. For people who don't know what it is, they become touts, they become robbers, they start, unfortunately, the internet scam, and all sorts of ridiculous things. Because truth be told, they just can't get a job. Why we're curious, that brings me to ask, like, what are the hurdles musicians face in Nigeria today? What is the main hindrance that stops a lot of people from getting to where they need to get? Hello and welcome back to the Ms. D Show. In case you're joining us on this show, we've been talking to two people from the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation, Buki Bolarinwa and Mohammed Nura Abdullahi. They've been telling us about what sickle cell is, how sickle cell is gotten, and how you manage sickle cell. So Buki, we were talking about, how you guys go to rural areas and how you teach people about genotypes and stuff. I know you have a campaign called KYG. Could you elaborate on what KYG is and how it's done?
Of course, KYG stands for Know Your Genotype.
Okay.
And we figured that this was the best way in order to eradicate sickle cell from the next generation. Right. So the main KYG is actually our main program, our main project. And what we do is that we go from different communities, different schools within all the area councils in the FCT,
right,
and do genotype tests and genotype sensitization. So knowing your genotype is really easy. It's just a simple prick test.
Okay.
Take your blood, we test the blood, and we just text you what your genotype is.
Okay.
Once you do your test once, you know your genotype is for life.
Of course.
And then it will help inform your decision going forward. What we found with the programs is there's so much ignorance within the community.
Of course, there is.
They don't even know what the concept of your genotype is. Before we have to explain it at the most basic level. We have people that speak most of the local languages, and part of our volunteers are doctors, nurses, people that do community outreach. So they're able to get down to the most basic level. KYG is also done in schools. So the Ministry of Education has been kind enough to give us permission to go and replicate the program across the schools within the FCT.
Okay.
So we've been able to we've managed to go to quite a number of secondary schools. We take them out in the assembly hall, talk to them about sickle cell, do their genotype testing.
And just hope spot.
Yes.
Okay.
They'll be able to spread the message.
So you guys do the blood test. That's the genotype test for free.
For free, yes.
So if you go to a local government area and they have about 100 people who come out, you guys test everybody?
Yeah, way more than 100.
Okay.
Yeah, 300.
Okay, on the spot.
Sometimes we spend the whole week.
On one area.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do, like a whole week sensitization program. Sometimes we do it in collaboration with other programs.
Okay.
So recently we did one where there was a Mother's Week, breastfeeding week.
Right.
So that way we go out and we talk to all the mothers that were there, pregnant women and so on, about knowing their genotype and the importance of it for the next generation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So what are these avenues that people can reach you on?
We're on Twitter.
Okay.
Our Twitter handle is Scaf_NG.
Right.
Our Instagram is at Scaf Nigeria.
At Scaf Nigeria.
One word.
That's SCAF.
Yes,
okay.
SCAF. Scaf. There's no R. At Scaf Nigeria. We're also on Facebook. Sickle Cell Aid Foundation.
Right.
We have a website. It's www.scaf.org.ng.
Okay.
And you'll be able to get all the updates on all our programs,
right,
what our activities are.
Okay, so if you want to get in touch with them, I'm sure you can be looking at the bottom of the screen and all the information will be scrolling at the moment. Okay, so you're a sickle cell, you said. What is the day-to-day life of a sickle cell patient? Like, for someone who doesn't know what it means to be living with sickle cell, what are the strengths, what are the benefits, if at all any, and what are the weaknesses? And what is it like? What is a crisis?
when you have like serious pains in your body, because crisis consists of pains in your joints,
right?
You know?
Of course.
So, and sometimes it comes massively. It could just come with malaria, with infection in your system, and then you have the pains and all. So it starts the crisis because
it's a crisis.
It's a crisis,
pretty much. Yeah.
So day-to-day life of a sickle cell patient, crisis evolved, but then like the weaknesses you say and the strength, it's whatever you make of it. It
right.
Depends on person to person. I, for one, what would I say my weaknesses are? I don't think there's
any.
Because I feel like people see sickle cell patients as weak.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a perception.
Yes. And I prove to you that sickle cell patients are not weak.
I'm sure they're not. I've met a few people who are everywhere. So there's nothing exactly you would say that a regular person who doesn't have sickle cell can do that a sickle cell patient cannot do.
Well, there are a lot. Advice not to do.
Right.
You're supposed to avoid the cold.
Right. Okay. So that's a trigger.
Yeah. Extreme cold gives you crisis. Even extreme heat gives you crisis.
Right.
So extreme of everything.
Right.
You're too excited, you get crisis. Too sad, you get crisis. So it's psychologically, emotionally, physical. So you have to like have moderate of everything.
Of course.
Do not stress yourself too much. Any physical activities that's just too much, that's going to stress your system.
Of course.
You just need to stop it. And how people just can go about their day and then fully, you shouldn't do that. You're supposed to check your vitals most of the time and always drink water.
What do you mean check your vitals?
Like know your temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, know what's going on your temperature, your blood pressure.
So you can do this yourself at home if you have some of the home kits?
If I have the home kits, I can do that myself.
I met a few girls who say, well, no one wants to date me or marry me because I'm sickle cell. They think I would die. Or a guy says no one. I mean, what's your advice? How do you, encourage these people out there to go by the day? And to be honest, you can find love. I mean, I've met sickle cell patients who have gotten married and have kids.
Yeah.
So there is, a happy ending.
Well, there are a lot of people that are very, very sympathetic to the
course,
and they feel like some I've met some in the past like, oh, I don't mind marrying a sickle cell patient. Girls that say I don't mind marrying a sickle cell patient because I mean it's like my own. It's not a pitiable situation, of course. But then she just felt like, oh man, I feel for this person. I can actually marry this person and making his life easy, because if you have a very good emotional life,
right,
believe me, like my nurse used to say, TLC, you need tender love and care. Once you have that, there will be very, very less occurrence of crisis. Sickle cell differ from person to person.
Of course.
Sometimes you see people with so much challenges. In the sense that you see that they have like so many complications.
Right.
Today they have leg ulcer, and they have some of them are paralyzed. Have stroke at the very tender age, 6-7 years old. They have stroke, and then somebody said, oh, okay, this person has stroke. She has stroke and she has sickle cell. No, can I cope with it? Something it's just that it's just too much for them to handle. It's not like they're being negative or trying to create stigma or anything. It's just because they feel like it's just too much. They just can't handle it.
Right.
So some people tend to back out because they just don't know how to handle that sort of situation. It's only one in so many people that can say, okay, she has sickle cell, she's paralyzed, and what the hell, I love her. I mean, I want to come to the aid of her situation. So and then they just go about it. Because sickle cell has so many complications. Even by taking some drugs, sometimes the drugs that works for me, it's not the one that
works for the next person.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
I just try to live on the positive side and then don't let people put me down.
Well, that's a good note. Live on the positive side, he says. So we will be right back after this break to know how well you can live on the positive side and how to contact these people if you're going through any of these challenges. Stay tuned and we'll be right back after the commercial. If you're just joining us, we've been talking to Buki Bolarinwa and Mohammed Noura Abdullahi from the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation, and they've been telling us about the different projects they run, what sickle cell is, and how you can live and manage sickle cell. So I was going to say, you've talked about the break the circle, you talked about what people who are sickle cell go through, the weaknesses, the strengths, and how you can live a happy life. But then I was going to say, what is the reception to sickle cell patients in Nigerian hospitals of today? Because I've heard a lot of people complain about hospitals not giving the best attention. I've been there and seen a few people die of sickle cell. What is your personal experience with the health?
Personally, I've been going to one hospital all my life.
Right. Okay.
That was the place I was diagnosed with sickle cell, and then I've still been going there because I feel like I know everybody there, from the security guards down to the cleaners. So like I love going there. And
what is the treatment like?
It's very good because I know them. Everyone knows me, but I know for sure that there are other patients that do not get
the attention you get.
Yes, I get, because they feel like sickle cell patients just exaggerate. Sometimes you come to the ER, if you're not, if you say, okay, let me just try to calm myself, be brave, just quietly, they'll be like, oh, okay, you're not in so much pain, okay, just sit down here with 3. But except sometimes if logically you have to be screaming coming into the ER, then they'll take you seriously, like, oh, he has sickle cell. Oh. But then again, when you're being admitted and all that, there's how sometimes they don't give you adequate pain meds, that they do not know what this amount of pain you're going through. So you have problem of adequate pain meds.
Why is that? So is it because they're not you, or they can't feel what you're going through?
Exactly.
Or they don't understand?
Because they know what they don't know what you're going through. One. And then 2, again, they feel like, oh, you're going to get addicted to all this pain meds.
Right.
Most of the
patients are addicted.
Yeah, the treatment. Most of the
treatments are a bit addictive.
Yeah,
I've heard of morphine and some of that. Yeah. Do you think that's the same thing for you? I mean, have you heard any negative information about hospitals and treatments, or have you had any of that experience?
I think that hospitals in Nigeria have challenges. I mean, just like with everybody else. But I definitely think that there's a lot of work that could be done with the management of sickle cell patients in Nigeria as a whole. In fact, I think that what they need to focus more on is preventing you from getting to the level of crisis that you have to be in ER.
Right.
What the doctors and nurses need to do is educate patients on how to better manage their pain and manage themselves in such a way that you don't get crisis so bad that you have to go to the hospital.
Okay, that's fine. Are they any current projects you're running at the moment, extra apart from the Break the Circle hashtag and KYG?
Yeah, we have a number of projects where we just recently started a NIPRID project.
NIPRID?
Yes.
Okay.
NIPRID. It's a government organization, and they've developed a drug called Niprosan, which is supposed to help reduce the frequency of crisis in sickle cell patients. So we're collaborating with them to roll it out to a number of sickle cell patients for free, and we're bearing that at our own cost. We also have the Helping Families program, which we do to for families that are struggling with sickle cell, because for rural people especially, we have a lot of families in the satellite towns who struggle. I mean, it's when you have a child with sickle cell, it's expensive.
It is expensive. I was going to say finances are crazy.
It's expensive. Going to the hospital, buying meds, the things that maybe if your child, if your normal children are able to drink water from the tap, you have to buy your child bottled water. So we provide them with meds. If they're struggling to pay their hospital bills, we help them pay it. Obviously, it's not possible for us to feed them, or because a healthy nutrition is important.
Of course, it is.
But, I mean, and that's something that they sometimes struggle with, but it's not sustainable to buy food for them.
Okay.
So for now, we only focus on the meds and their health care.
So how do they reach you? Do they have to register to be able to benefit?
Actually, right now, the families that we work with are those that we met while we were doing our outreach program.
Right.
So when we go out to the different communities,
that's the only time.
Yes.
Okay, so if you've missed any of what they said, you can go on the website at www.themsdshow.com, send us an email, or call us at 07065803417, and we'll be definitely sure to connect you to the Sickle Cell Aid Foundation or give you any advice you might need. One last word to our lucky viewers about how to keep happy, how to remain energetic and live a healthy sickle cell life.
And for the sickle cell patients out there, all you need to do is stay strong, be positive, do not let anyone put you down, do what you love, and yourself, stay positive.
Well, you heard it from the two beautiful people, Buki and Noura Mohammed Abdullahi, on the Ms. D Show. Till next time I come your way again, it's Adora Stephanie Wodo Be inspired and stay tuned.
The Misty Show. The Misty Show, your number one companion